All right, the NBA is back. We're already a day into this thing now, so we only have one more real day, EMac, to be able to remind everybody that the NBA is back. It's like wishing people a happy new year in the middle of February. You only have a certain amount of time before you could come on and say the NBA is back. So we're day 2, couple of teams playing back-to-backs, right? Big night, in case you were wondering, who's debuting for the Philadelphia 76ers. And all of that is going to be covered under the PrizePicks world, as we appreciate you hanging with us on the PrizePicks Strategy Show, NBA version. Tyler's producing. EMac is here, and I'm just hanging out. You hit the thumbs up button, subscribe, and we'll get things cooking right away. What's happening, my friend?
Well, I will say that last week's prime picks that I chose from the show went 4 out of 5, and I turned my $500 card that I won by completing a series of PrizePicks challenge. They gave me a free $500 card. Anybody could have gotten these, and if you got 5 right, you'd get 5,000. 4 right, you get 1,000. I got 4 right. So I completed the series of challenges, actually made money on them, and then won $1,000. So I was very happy. Just missed that last question by my guy needed 5 rebounds. He got 3 in the first quarter and never won the rest of the game. Keldon Johnson, baby, we're going to be talking about him tonight.
Yep, that's burned in your brain. You will never forget that beat right there. 3 in the first, none in the final 3. Brutal. But you did it. Look, congrats, man. That's really what we should be doing here, is digitally patting you on the back, right? Like just there you go, EMac. Great job, brother. Great job. Nice,
it was fun, man. But I'm just saying, there's some good stuff out here at PrizePicks. Yeah. I ended up doing a multi-sport. I believe I had one hockey player. I had that guy with the 3-pointers going against Georgetown from Creighton that we talked about. He got it in just minutes of play, and then I had a couple other my NBA bets. So again, the cross-sport stuff here is the way to go. I've had a little bit of success with college basketball and with NHL during the NBA All-Star break. Nothing great, but I'm still profitable, so I'm happy about that. I'm really enjoying my time at PrizePicks.
Hey, man, it's all about being profitable, right? Doesn't matter what the final record is, the numbers. If you're plus and whatever that number is after that, that's all that matters. By all means. All right, so let's dive into it again. If you're hanging with us, we appreciate you, Drill on G, and everybody else here in the chat. Hit that thumbs up button, please, if you haven't already. And we'll continue to kind of tell you all about how PrizePicks works. Everything really, the deposit matches that link below. It's $100. So you can go to work right away. Just click that link and you'll be good to go. So let's look, as we kind of had this formula to where we would bounce around from, in the NFL at least, right? Different categories and stuff. So let's start with scoring, right? Let's start with points and see where you're identifying anybody. And I don't even know if James Harden's going to make an appearance on the show from you here. This may be the lone appearance of James Harden, just in spirit. Let's start with scorers, though.
All right. So looking at this one, we got a couple guys going against each other. One is going to be Devin Booker. He played last night, had a phenomenal game. I believe he played like 38 minutes, had a double-double, 5 or 6 steals, just a phenomenal all-around game. He's coming out of the All-Star break. I'm not as worried that it's a back-to-back. Phoenix does still need to bank some wins to maintain positioning here for the postseason. Chris Paul is basically going to be out until the postseason, so we're going to get to see something incredibly rare tonight. This will be just the second game this season that Devin Booker has played without Chris Paul. So I was looking at a variety of his props. We can get fantasy props, or for fantasy scoring over here on PrizePicks. They have the same scoring as FanDuel, so it's the 3 points for, and Yahoo, so it's the 3 points for steals and blocks, no double-double or triple-double bonus points. So that's important to know. So you want to be careful and understand your scoring system, because PrizePicks does full PPR, where those other sites do have. PrizePicks has taken the best of both worlds, I guess.
Right.
So we want to be careful with that. But tonight I'm looking at Booker's scoring. PrizePicks has him at 26.5. Awesemo is projecting him for 29.8. Now, he will have the ball in his hands a lot tonight. Does that mean he's always going to be the scorer? No, we'll see an uptick in his assists. You can also look at his rebounds, points, assists, rebounds, points, and assists, or points, rebounds, assists, or you can look at his fantasy points. But I felt the points was the best one for me. Awesemo projecting him for 29.8. He has 26 or more points in 14 of his last 19. Now, we need 26 and a half tonight. So in 2 of those games, he only had 26. So technically he failed, but just kind of showing he's right around there almost every game. We just need a little luck or a little variance on our side. And I think without Chris Paul, campaign, et cetera, out there, I think he has a decent chance to get that one. Then on the other side here, going against New Orleans Pelicans, you've got CJ McCollum here. I know he's one of your favorites. You love those 3-pointer bets, but we'll talk about that. We'll get there. We'll get to there. But points, he has 22 and a half here on PrizePicks. Awesemo has him for 24.8. I want to point out in his 5 games with New Orleans, he is averaging 28.4 points. He is their primary scorer. He has taken 20 or more field goals. I believe it was in 4 of those 5 games. Brandon Ingram is just like, I'll be the glue guy. Whatever else we need, I'll do that, and I'll do it really well. But you are often running as the scorer. So I think this is a nice spot, a little bit undervalued. I think 24 and a half is a little more accurate, which is about where we have him. But hey, we'll take that. I'd probably still start to consider the over. It is, as I mentioned, back to back there for Phoenix, and then but might keep the game closer is all I'm thinking on that one. So no real worries there. But those are my first 2 I'd like to call out for us.
No, I think there's actually an element to look at, and it's rare that we get to talk about this outside of today, really, where you're off that long all-star break. You're playing a back-to-back. It's the same thing that I looked at tonight on the Odd Shopper channel with that Sixers-Wolves game. Is Minnesota is like Phoenix coming off a back-to-back. So I think that first game back, you feel like, okay, you've been rested, you're ready to go. But taking that time off, I think, starts to take its toll second half of that second leg. And I could see that with a team like Phoenix tonight to keep that game close and definitely keeping McCollum in range on the floor, not having to worry about them getting blown out of the building and him only playing, 25 minutes. So I know, and I'll bite my tongue until we come back to the 3-point prop, but I'm all over him as is. And I think that a lot of it, if it's PrizePicks, especially as we'll see that number of the 3-pointers, this should be at least 1-3 higher, but because he didn't hit a couple of times, it's dropped a little bit. So yeah, I'm with you, man. 22 and a half just seems low for a guy who is clearly their number 1 scorer. I love it.
Absolutely. And that's one that PrizePicks puts out a lot of their plays. A lot of their numbers are very sharp. Or very comparable to the books. They know people kind of like the overs, so they'll tick a little bit below, but not always, because there's some picks out there that you'll definitely want to take unders, and we're going to talk about one of those next.
All right, well, let's do it, because this man burned you. The lone reason he kept you from an extra 4K bump. Is that right?
It is. Now, when you put it that way, now I'm sad I'm talking about him again. But
I don't know why you would go back to him. Like, you could go to
because
anybody
the numbers.
Tonight.
I look at the numbers, and I didn't even think about him ruining. That was like 2 weeks ago that he ruined my amazing card. So I'd forgotten it, and here we are. We're back again. Well,
you opened the door, by reminding us, rightfully so, that you hit that 1K. And of course,
there we go. Let's call it that. I won 1,000. I didn't lose 4,000. At the end of the day, I had an extra $1,000.
Right. All right. So let's go back to the KJ well here, but it's a different play. This time you're fading him, right?
No, I'm actually going to take him. So Keldon Johnson, 4.5 rebounds is the prize pick number. Awesemo has him at 3.6. Now I may just not put him on my card because it's going to be painful. But the 6.3 is pretty nice. He's going against Washington. Again, Washington not particularly a dominating front court. Of course, he's going to have to compete with Jakob Poeltl and DeJounte Murray, his own teammates, for the rebounds here. But I like him to get 5-6. I think that is a comfortable number. I'm not as worried about that. If you're not quite as sure about that, because again, he did disappear in the last game. I mean, again, 3 in the first quarter. I thought I was home free on that one, and then it fell apart. We can look at his points, rebounds, and assists, because it's 22.5. Awesemo has him for just over 25. The big bump is the rebound number there. But, maybe he gets 1 less rebound and 2 more assists and an extra bucket, right? There's other ways this stuff could go, plus or minus, that maybe you want to broaden this out. But for me, I think I'd still stick with the rebounds. DeJounte Murray, I mentioned his teammate. I think he's someone you can look at for the rebounds. His points, rebounds, and assists is okay. We're projecting him for about 2 more than what they have on PrizePicks. We're about even with them on fantasy points. So I wouldn't go that fantasy point route. I'd pick one of these other ones. But that's the nice thing now. You can, in PrizePicks, they have the little filter. You type the player's name in, and it brings up all the props that you have available for them. So I thought that was kind of nice. And now I'm looking, Keldon Johnson is not on the PrizePicks card now for whatever reason. But his points, rebounds, and assists is, well, because I talked about him.
Exactly. And look, the people at PrizePicks, they have a heart. So what they thought is, look, let's save EMac from himself and take Keldon Johnson off the list. That's what they did.
I still see by looking at OddsShopper, it's available on a few other books. I have a couple a free ticket or a booster here and there. Perhaps I will be dabbling over there. Maybe not on PrizePicks, but I do like that points, rebounds, assists for him. And then the guy we're going under on, Pascal Siakam, 9.5 rebounds. Awesemo has him projected for 8.5. No OG Anunoby. It sounds like he has a broken hand or a fractured finger or thumb or something like that. Right. So we may see some more Thaddeus Young. Who knows? But point being, there's not really a void there in rebounds or anything. But Pascal Siakam barely registers double-digit rebounds in the third of his games this year. I went and looked this up because, yes, barely. I think it's 15 out of 50, I think is what it is, because he's missed a fair number of games. I don't have that information up, but PrizePicks also has, if you go over to their NBA FTU tab, if you click on that, they're doing from today till the end of the season, and you can say like Pascal Siakam games over or double doubles. Last I looked, it was like 6.5 or 7.5. One of those I took the under on. They've got Kyle Kuzma out there, similar number, definitely slammed the over on that one. I was making a bunch of these wagers on Tuesday and Wednesday. I have not looked at those today, but I did go check to see that they were still up for a lot of the teams that had not played yesterday. I didn't look and see if anybody that played yesterday is still up there, but it's a fun little way to, they're angling the futures in here. So if you do not have a sports book in your state, but you have PrizePicks,
that's right,
you're getting a little more of a feel here. We're not going to have money line bets yet, but we'll see. Maybe we get some team totals in here snuck in somewhere, right? Right, Eytan?
That would be fantastic. Look, team totals, absolutely. Any sharp little thing that we could attack, by all means, because you know that it's just going to be a few of us betting it. But I love it. No, especially, you're right. If you're in a spot where you can't legally place a wager, but you do have PrizePicks, it just opens up so much, by all means. So Siakam was the last one, though, for rebounds. And even with OG, I guess the concern, as you raised as far as Young and just going under that, even with our own projections, I'm a little surprised, but it makes sense, when you talk through it, that our projections are a full board below what's being offered. But that could also just be that PrizePicks has it too high, right? It doesn't mean that our projections are always too low or high. It could also just mean that there may just be something off with PrizePicks that you've identified. All right, let's go. Keep it moving here, my friend. And 3-pointers. Now, I'm a little disappointed that there's only one here on the prep sheet, but just know that I've got like 15 lined up in the event that we need them.
Well, I figured you'd throw in a couple because I noticed the Shander show has tagged me in some tweets the last couple days. So I'm part of the fun, and we'll talk about the ones that you like. But the CJ McCollum one, we sort of hinted on that one. That really stands out for me. PrizePicks has him at 2.5. Most of the sports books also have him at 2.5. Awesemo has him at 3.6. In the 5 games he has played with New Orleans, so this is reverse chronological order, his made 3-pointers have been 7, 0, 5, 3, and 2. So basically, he would have hit it 3 out of the 5 times, 60%. We were projecting him to succeed in this particular one about 70%. That feels about right. But just seeing some of those numbers, you could say wildly high, yet still missed on 2 of them, right? So it's even though it's only 2.5. I had Trae Young last night for only 2.5. He didn't make a single one of the 5 he attempted. That killed one of my cards on PrizePicks. But just saying, it may seem like a low number until your guy's shot is not falling. So we want to be careful with that. But I do like CJ McCollum. If I had to choose between the points and the 3-pointers, I think I would still land on the points for this one. But this feels like I'll probably have 3 cards tonight. Each of my cards will have at least one of those 2 CJ McCollum picks.
Yeah, look, our buddy Butthole's in the house and always asking us to just go right down and forget all the ancillary shit, cut the crap, who's the best play. This is my favorite play on our tickets tonight that you've given. And again, when I say that, just know it doesn't mean that I don't like anything else. I love what EMac has put together here, but this is my favorite one. It's pretty juiced. It's at my 130, 132, something along those lines, depending on what book you're looking at. So the books are not taking a ton of liability on going over 2.5. We know the juice is absent here on PrizePicks. This number on PrizePicks should be 3. Like, realistically, it should be 3. 3.5 maybe at the books. I get that's a little steep, but this should be a 3 at PrizePicks. So the fact that you can go over that and the push is not in play, I love it. And the volume is there. We won't see a blowout. You talked about that with the Suns and the second leg of the back-to-back. I love it. EMac, you've done wonders here with CJ McCollum 2 times over.
All right. So this was an interesting one. So last time we did this, I had a whole bunch of other sports. And I want to point out, we do have we'll talk one NHL, or we've got one more NBA one, but we also have college basketball projections. Those are done by Matt Gajewski. As best I can tell, and I've only dabbled in it probably half a dozen different days, and I've won 4 of the 6 days. I did have 2 losing days where I got 3 out of 5 on my card. So I get a little bit of money back and not my full amount back, but it's been nice. I've had a couple 5 out of 5s, which is helpful.
Yeah.
I think they're picking the players they want. And I think they're just taking season average is what they're putting in there. And so that doesn't mean that they're not picking the bad players. They're picking, like, the best scorer, the best rebounder, and the best assist person, the best 3-pointer shooter of each of the games. But I think they're just kind of taking their average. So Matt does all of the projections for us, so you can get that behind the paywall here at Awesemo. But he breaks all of those different categories out, and if you search through them, you can usually find someone that is a couple or 3 rebounds ahead of their average, because they're probably playing a faster opponent or a slower opponent, or what have you. Something has changed that the season average number isn't going to take care of. PrizePicks, that's going to be close enough because they're just looking for a median outcome. And again, they're not picking these ancillary players, they're picking the main people, so it's not like they're going to lose their shorts. But as we slog through all of those, you can put together some nice cards with them. I didn't see any that were jumping out today. I went through the same with all of the hockey. Usually you can find some shots on goals. Their numbers are pretty tight today compared to what we have, so I don't I've got one I will recommend, but I do want to say they did put their fantasy points back up for hockey. We had lamented on the other show where they didn't have it.
Yeah, they took that down.
Yeah, so while we don't have that, we have individual skater projections. So all I did is put up a little Excel formula that said, every goal is worth 8, every assist worth 5, blocks and shots on goal are worth 1.5. So now I just have my little number, and you can find some here or there. It's like trying to project a baseball player, right?
Sure.
Well, you project Mike Trout. Oh my God, does he get over or under 10 fantasy points? Well, does he get an extra base hit or not is basically what you're wagering on, right? So it's the numbers are going to be like, oh, my guy's going to get way more. Yeah, a lot of times they'll get blanked too. They don't get the goal or they don't get the assist or what have you. But the fantasy points there are one to definitely look at. So they've had those back up for the last few days. So I do want to point those out because, again, I don't know a ton about hockey, but we have the great byproduct of all of our stuff sitting there. So let's just do the hockey one, then we'll come back to basketball. So Rasmus Dahlin is, I believe he's a defenseman. PrizePicks has him for 2 shots on goal. We have him for just over 2.5. You want to understand the matchups that are going on with the defenseman because, will they join the rush? Will they, do whatever? This is a matchup where I think it's a little bit better for him that he should be able to get there. Normally, I don't like looking at the defenseman. I like looking at some of their forwards who are going to be in a better matchup, and PrizePicks will have them at 3 or 3.5 shots on goal, and we'll have them for 3, 3.5, 4. But if you're seeing numbers like that, that's usually you can shade over like Brady. I can never say his name. Kachuk, and a variety of those other left wingers are the ones you want to look at. Yes,
you don't remember the old. You don't remember Keith Kachuk? He's a little older. Keith.
They're all related. They're all the same. All the hockey.
They're all related, but I think Keith might be the first one, and that's what he used to say. Like, my name sounds like the puck hitting the back of the net. That's how I always remember it. Keith Kachuk.
Kachuk. I like that. Thank you. There we go. Learning from a pro, an old hand here at radio.
Right. Yes, right. I've never called that. All right. So I actually like that, especially when you're targeting, as you mentioned, somebody away from D. The fantasy score one is interesting as well because of what you said, building everything up. And I guess I would look at maybe a guy on a good team and trying to see just how well, just maybe taking advantage, like Abs taking on the peg, pardon me. So, maybe Devin Taves is a guy that I would target. The 10.5 fantasy points seems high, but again, I don't know. Does that work for you? Where if you can target maybe, and it doesn't even matter if it's forwards or defensemen, but just trying to target a really good team taking on, it doesn't even have to be a bad team, but just a team worse than them.
Yeah, tonight the ones I would look at Ryan Getzlaf for the Anaheim Ducks. He is 5.5 for his fantasy score. He puts up points in a variety of ways. Never really spectacular, but he'll kind of float around that number. They've got a lot of the scoring forwards on there and 2 scoring defensemen on there. I don't really like where those guys are. The other one I'd look to is maybe Bjorkstrand there. He's at 7.5. He's another guy that tends to sort of be that all or nothing, like 9 points to double digits, or he's not going to meet that number. But I don't mind him in the matchup against Carolina. I do not think he will be going against, is it the Nieder Eater line? That's the what is it, the shutdown line or whatever? I haven't watched. It's been a bit since I've watched
Lockdown
the hockey. Now that
I don't know.
Yeah,
right?
now that NBA's back, I'm a little out of it. I still play every day with the Awesemo tools and stuff, but it's those individual matchups I have to think about a little more.
They're tough. That's right. They're tough to keep up on. Look, you've got a couple of nice hockey plays here, so we're taking full advantage of that. Anything, I mentioned I have a couple of the 3-point props that I like, but what I did notice about just these constant additions to PrizePicks is futures are up now. Do you notice that? Like, we have NBA futures, we have NFL futures, and there's one that I'll just throw out just to keep an eye on, okay? You can go futures here, double doubles, 25 plus, 10 plus assist games, 10 plus board games, triple doubles, and basically you're choosing over under on how many of these games a player will have before the end of the season. So what I saw that I actually really like here, Joel Embiid has 24 games left. There is no indication right now that he's fat, out of shape, hurt, anything like that. So put that to the back burner. 17.5 10-plus rebound games. So I need 18 of 24, and I can build in 4 planned rest games of that.
Absolutely. So let me talk about that for a minute here. And we've got 5 minutes left, so we got plenty of time. So the other NBA bet for tonight is points, rebounds, and assists for Booker. So if you're feeling a little concerned that he's kind of getting right around that 26 number, that feels good. But otherwise, when you're looking at this, you've got 39.5 on the points, rebounds, assists, and Awesemo has him projecting for just over 42. Right. Again, you get that mix a little bit. So maybe he's got the ball in his hands more. Maybe he passes a little bit more than as many shots as he might have, or he's not getting Chris Paul giving him the shot right where he wants it in the pocket and just putting up the long distance two. Doesn't shoot too many threes, but the long distance two or what have you, that would be a way to balance it out. But I built out 5 cards here. So the ones I have, let me just throw a couple here. So tonight, so I did these 3 days ago. I haven't looked at what these are today, but you'll see some common themes here. So on Tuesdays, they do what they call their taco picks. Yep. So they throughout the day they'll put up 3 different picks that they'll take off between 10 and 20% of whatever the number is. You can make that pick for an hour or 2, and then that taco goes away and they bring another for Taco Tuesday, right? So it's just a fun little thing that they do. So I got Joel Embiid fantasy points, regular points, 25-point games. 13.5. Now that number was I think it was 16 or 16.5, and they put a pretty good discount on it, so we could get there. But the Kyle Kuzma, I like him for over 6.5 double doubles. I like Jokic for over 18.5 double doubles. The reason I chose the double doubles, it was very similar to his double-digit rebound games. He does get there on assists for occasionally. So I said, you know what? This is one number off. I'm going to just take it so I can get there potentially with the assists. Julius Randle, I think this one will probably go up, but double doubles for him was 10.5 in 23 remaining games. So I jumped on that one. And then Pascal Siakam, I took the under 7.5 double doubles for him. Yeah. He, as I mentioned earlier, he doesn't get that many. So occasionally you're going to want to, I was like, oh, this number's low, I'm going to slam it. And then how few double doubles does he actually get? He's right around 8 rebounds every game, but he never gets to double digits. Kyle Kuzma, let's see, Julius Randle, Karl Anthony Towns, 12.5 double doubles I got there. I mentioned Siakam, so again, you'll see common themes here. Luka Doncic, over 14.5 double doubles. You can still get that one tonight. I think that one's a good one. Did Jokic again? I got Clint Capella double doubles, just 7.5. That I think was a miss on their part. It depends how long Collins is out with his foot, but even if we get a couple before he comes back, he's a good one. And then I did Trae Young double doubles, 10.5 or more, and then Giannis Antetokounmpo triple doubles, 1.5 during the rest of the season. Do you feel the over or the under? And I'm going to tell you, I believe he has 4 right now.
Man for betting this.
He has 4 on the season. So I took the over on this one, but I only took it on one of my 5.
You are a brave man. That's going to kill you. That's going to be your Keldon Johnson on one of these huge tickets there. And you knew it was that. No, look, you kind of have to. If you're going to throw that flyer out there on triple doubles, it does make the most sense. And look, maybe Westbrook at 1.5 there as well. Doncic's number is high.
Doncic is way too high. I probably take the
way
under
too
on
high.
Doncic.
You know, here's the difference, real quick.
The Westbrook is he's still at 1.5. So I mean, think about that.
That's what I mean.
Like, is LeBron going to sit for at least 1 or 2 more games? And is Westbrook going to be out of the doghouse enough that he should get a triple double? Probably. We've got 20 games.
Just the usage. Yeah. I mean, that alone. That's what I'm saying. Like, that alone should be enough. Look, I think if I'm going to go Embiid here, it's going to be the 10+ rebounds over the double-double because there's one less game. It's just that. I mean, it's the same prop. I understand that. It's not going to be a game in which Embiid scores 9 points and has double-digit rebounds. But I just want less games in front of me. Here's the one that I love on all of these, and I'm surprised you missed this, but to be fair, you hit like 50 things in these 28 minutes, so I understand that there's room to gloss over. How about Harden? 13.5 double-doubles in 24 games?
I didn't know when he was coming back. So when I did most of this during the Taco Tuesday, and then I did it on Wednesday. I didn't know he was going to play today. Could it be 3 or 4 more games? Could it not? When's Ben Simmons playing? Does everybody seem so fragile these days? Both from it's just not knocking anybody's mental health or anything like that.
No, but
it's just like, dang, these guys were all so good
out there.
Let's put Paul George, Kawhi Leonard. I mean, we can put a lot of other people up to like, what happened to all those guys? I guess playing
it's amazing.
In 2.5 years is a bad thing. So
right. No, it's still up there, 13.5. So you can still jump in there by all means. All right, man. We'll get out of here. We'll wind down. And again, if there's anything to look at, look, Gary Trent Jr., Fournier, these overs at 3.5 are going to be juice. So think of that. I love going over 2.5 threes at the book. For James Harden, I can get him 2 here. We mentioned McCollum. That was your play, 2.5. And the only other one I would look at, actually 2 I'd look at real quick, EMac. 1, because I like going over the 2.5 anyways at the book, and it's probably going to be just about even money anyway. But LaMelo Ball is going to have the volume to knock down 3, at least 3. That's all I really need tonight. And then Buddy Hield, like this is a juiced bet at most books, right? If you're going over 3.5 threes. Getting to 4 threes for Buddy Hield is probably going to be like a -130 bet. I'll do that easily here at PrizePicks, by all means.
Awesemo has him for 3.95 made 3-point attempts. The only one better, Mr. Fred Van Elite with 420.
Wow. Are you serious? He's not even on here because Price. That's what I mean. Yeah. Happy 420 day. Happy James Harden day. Happy all of it, right?
Absolutely. Right, absolutely.
At EMac DFS, at Shander Show. Thanks to Tyler. Hit the thumbs up button, please, if you haven't. Subscribe. And look, that link below is there for you. All of this at PrizePicks. It's easy. It's the home of the over-unders. We've built multiple tickets thanks to EMac. Congrats again to EMac. Use that link below. Click, sign up, and we'll match your first deposit up to $100. Oh, by the way, you'll get 1 free month of Awesemo Plus Platinum, so you can use that across the board. Everybody have a great weekend. Thanks again for hanging with us on the PrizePicks Show.